Okay, new feature for version 10.8. It's auto over adjustment calculation. So what is that? So that will add in over adjustment for your elevation for you automatically. And how it will do that, you'll see down here. Let me get to this here. You see down here, there's a new entry here. It's called SWE over adjust. Stands for secondary wind effect over adjustment. And right now it's saying 12.5%. You can see it right there. Okay, so like if I changed it to 90 degrees, you see that it changed to 17%, 45 degrees, 12.5%, like a 0, went to 5%, increased the wind strength, that went to 14%. I'm just putting different numbers here so you can see that it's automatically always figuring out an additional over adjustment calculation. So what does that mean? It means how much adjustment on top of your elevation adjustment it will add. So in Ultimate Golf Crash Calculator, we've always given you 2 elevation entries that you can put in. And the thinking was this, that you go to a hole and the hole itself is already a set elevation. You generally kind of know when you're hitting an approach shot or a shootout what that elevation adjustment is going to be based on the pure elevation differences in height in Golf Clash from where you are to where the pin is. But the other thing so that stays constant. So you might think, okay, the elevation drop is 10%. Oops, sorry, not there. Here it is 10%. And the reason let me take that back. Okay, so we see 10%. So this shows you how much elevation is being added into the shot. It's adding 10%. If I you can see the shot to stationing a cat. It's showing 12 rings to pull. If I change it to 0, that'll be a 0% elevation shot. And let me make that simple. 0% max, 11.5 rings. 20% max, 13.7 rings, right? And depending how you think about it, if you go to a hole, as I was saying, there's a base elevation. So you could think about it as 10% elevation base. And just depending on how, I'll put 0 here, depending on how strong the wind is or the wind direction or however you feel about the wind, you might say, well, this looks like about 10% for elevation, but the wind I'm going to need to add another 15%. So it's 25%. So then that's why UGC, the Ultimate Golf Crash Calculator, separated out the elevation adjustment in case you want to think about it like that, instead of just looking at your shot and saying, oh man, the hill and everything. So I think that's the elevation is about 10. The wind is strong coming left, pretty much crosswind. So I think I got to add 25%, right? Or you could play like that. Or another way to think about it is, well, it's always 10%. And this wind is, I don't know, this is a 50 mile per hour wind. So I want to add another. I noticed the last time on a flat land, I had to add 15% elevation. So I think the wind is adding another 15% elevation, but I also have the 10% from the actual drop in the shot. So I need to add them together, put 25. So that's why that's why it was separated out, in case you want to think about the shot like that. And it's sensible. So over time, as you play that kind of play, you start to develop a system for yourself, I'm sure. I'm sure everybody is different in the way that they think about it. So what I decided to do for the Ultimate Golf Crash Calculator is to just automate your thinking. So that's why this number here, this secondary wind effect over adjustment calculation is here. It's always calculating in additional over adjustment that you can based on what you think the shot should be, based on how you develop your own shots. So This is showing right now 29.5% based on crosswind at 15%, 15 miles per hour. So if you want to add that in, what you would do now is just put in your base elevation at 10% and leave this blank. So if you leave this blank, it adds in this 29.5% elevation, right? It adds that in. So you can see here, 10%, the 29.5% from here is now added to the 10%. And now your shot has 39.5% elevation added to the shot. So it kind of helps automate the process for you. So now you just can do by base elevation and what you think, how much wind adds to the over adjustment. And it is kind of consistent if you kind of work through it. And everyone will be a little different, but the major factor for over adjustment is wind strength. The basic wind model is pretty good about moving your ball off, and it just so happens it kind of is consistent with the amount of over adjustment required by adding in the wind. So let's take a look at what I mean by that. So how it's set up is I'll go to this table here. Well, let me go back one more time just to be clear. Whenever you see this red SWE, secondary wind effect equals whatever, it's just saying this number right here, 29.5. Whenever you see that, it's adding it into your shot. And the way it adds it into your shot is leaving this blank. Not zero, but blank. If I put a 0 here, you see that that red warning disappears. And now your shot is just simply adding 0 plus 10 to 10. It's still calculating out the secondary wind effect over adjustment, but it's being ignored because you have something here. Again, just to go in one more time, if you want to add this in, just leave this blank. Just leave it blank. The warning will come up, 29.5% plus 10%, be 39.5%. So what do you put here? You might be negative elevation, like it might be uphill, but the wind is so strong, you normally add about 30% for 15%. And now it'll add it together, 29.5 minus 10, now it's 19.5% elevation added to your shot. So where does it get this number from? So let's go take a look at that. So let me blank this out. Put that at, I'll just leave that at 0. So there's a tab at the very bottom here. We can go to called SWE data. Go to that tab, scroll down, and you see in version 10.8, a little down here, there's this thing called secondary wind effect elevation addition. There's these two columns, headwind tailwind column and a crosswind column. And on the very first column is wind miles in miles per hour for 0 through 22. So for each strength of wind from 0 to 22, you can put in here what you think, how much extra elevation you need to add for your shot in the crosswind direction or the headwind direction. You might think, let's take a look at 10 miles per hour, put 17% extra elevation to add in crosswind. And headwind, I say only to add 5% because I'm using my wind direction model. Well, wind direction model already takes into account the headwind tailwind effects. But if you don't want to use the wind direction model, you can change this and you can make this, you want to make it the same. So in 10 miles per hour, 170. In 10 miles per hour, you want it to be 17% in headwind tailwind, 70% in crosswind. Or you can change it. You may want to say, I don't know, 12, right? So it's up to you to figure out what you want to do. So what it's really doing is you put these two numbers in. You may think you need less in crosswind, headwind, tailwind versus crosswind. So what it's going to do is if you use the wind direction model, anything in between those, it's going to make a smooth transition from these two numbers, from 6 to 22. It's basically going to make it an ellipse in this case, right? Or 5 to 17. For crosswind, it's 17%. Tailwind is 15%. Anything in between the two, it gradually makes a smooth transition between the two. In a complete circle, it'll make an ellipse. If you had it 17, if you thought it's always the same, then it's just a circle. No matter the wind direction, it's going to add the same amount of over adjustment. Okay, so let's go take a look at some examples of the over adjustment, auto over adjustment in use. Okay, so we're looking at a shot here. Let me get this cursor out. So you can see it says 11.8, 11.8 elevation to add in based off the table. So you can say 11.8, you get 0. So the final is 11.8. So adding 11.8 elevation to this shot. Thorn is saying 4.2 rings to pull. Okay. The next one is going to be the same hole but a different angle. I think it's around the same wind strength, I think so. $13.7. Going to the min, counting out rings, 33 rings up from in. Setting the slider at 34%, five rings to pull. So 11.4 miles per hour, right? The center pin, not center pin, but in the hole. 11.4 miles per hour, it's adding in about quite a bit of extra elevation. But now we only have 5.2 miles per hour on this one, and you can see it drops down to 2.1 based on the table. Again, the main thing that affects over adjustment is the wind strength. Okay, cut out 30 rings from in. We're thinking that it's a level shot, so the base elevation is 0%. Okay, down to drop. Let's see another shot here. From in. 0% min, 5 rings. It's adding 10%, saying it's a 12% base elevation, so the total is 22%. Pulling 2.9 rings. (22% added elevation). Get a base of 12. The calculator will automatically put in the 10%. This one, the shot has been playing -10. Calculator showing add in 10% auto over adjustment, so a total of 0% elevation. Counted back 28 rings for max. Falcon 7, 4.7 ring pull. Okay. It's saying 0% base elevation. On it rings from min. So 0. About 1 ring up. It's adding in 8.9% from the table that we put in. So total 8.9% elevation for 9.4 mile per hour wind. Okay. We're saying this is a 3% base elevation shot based on 7.7 miles per hour. Table is 7.4 over adjustment to add in. So 7.4 plus 3, 10.4 elevation added into the shot. Counting back rings from max. Thorn, 4.4 rings to pull. Center of the ball hit perfect. Okay. Minus 6%, hitting a little bit uphill on this one. 6.5 miles per hour. 3.9% from the table because it's a lower wind. So minus 2% elevation. Counting 20 rings back from max. Grizzly 7. 7.2 rings to pull. Need to pull 1159. Okay, I think this is the final one, so 0%. Final example anyway. 6.8 miles per hour. Calculate based on the table says to add 4.8% elevation. 4.8 plus 0, 4.8 elevation total for the pull. 4.2 rings to pull. Well, 3.3 rings to pull based on the slider. 1159, 4 degree, 1159 pull. So that's it, pretty good. Again, it's hard to dial in over adjustment, but you can set it up how you feel works best for you. It's a new feature, auto over adjustment addition for you for version 10.8. All right, thanks.